Well, hello, and thank you for joining us for another update on MarkTwainZephyr.com, also our Facebook page and our Twitter page at Mark Twain Zephyr. I'm Robert Tabern, Director of Passenger Development with the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, and it's great to have you with us. It is Sunday, January the 10th, 2021, and we are here with another update about the Mark Twain Zephyr, and we're actually coming to you from our off-property shops located about 7 miles away or so from Trigo. And as you can see, we have the trucks here for the Mark Twain Zephyr, and this week work has started on the trucks. I know a lot of people have sent us emails and questions about well, where are the trucks? Are you guys working on the trucks? Because I've seen all our updates on the passenger cars and things like that. So yes, we are starting this week to work on some of the trucks, while some of our other crews are working on some of the passenger cars up at the railroad. I'm going to turn it over to Nick, who's our Operations Manager, and he is inside going to give you a look at what is going on that front.
Hey guys, it's Nick Turinetti, the Operations Manager for the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, and now I am working with Marty here.
Hi, Marty. Hi.
To start disassembling the first of the Mark Twain Zephyr's trucks.
Yes, we've had a lot of people wondering what happened to them or what were we going to do with them. So I guess new year and new start to the start of the truck. So
new year, new project.
Okay.
So the trucks are actually the first part of the Mark Twain Zephyr that came up from Lincoln or St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And they were up here like almost they were in mid-July. So
yeah.
They've actually were the first thing here. Within the past week, right before, or a couple weeks before it started to snow, we got 4 of them up to our shop location here, which is off property, and got 2 of them inside, and we're in the process of starting to disassemble them so we can go through. We're going to run most of the components through a bead blaster to take off the paint, get them down to bare metal. And then we'll have an idea what repairs actually need to be made to it. And you know, this is definitely the case of a diamond in the rough. The trucks are rough. They're going to take a bit of work to get roadworthy again. But there's pretty good bones here. So.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does it make more sense to for somebody who doesn't know about truck repair or anything like this, does it make more sense to repair the old ones like you guys are doing here, or like we're doing, or just to put, or buy new trucks and put them under there, or are we trying to save it because those are the original? Is that part of it? Or
the easy answer is you can't go down to Menards and buy yourself a new set of Mark Twain Zephyr trucks off of the back shelf.
What am I going to do with my $25 gift card from my mom?
The 11% pay is not going to help.
And they won't fit in my 15% bag next week either.
Right. So actually what's kind of unique about the Mark Twain Zephyr's trucks is that they are unique. Like each truck under each car is actually slightly different. They have slightly different journal box sizes. They have slightly different piston valve sizes for the brake pistons. And they actually have smaller than standard wheels for most passenger cars. Most passenger cars have like 36-inch wheels. These are 30-inch wheels.
Really? So 6 inch smaller.
Yes.
Diameter.
And part of that was to try and keep a low profile for the Zephyr train sets so that they were more aerodynamic. They also are lighter. Everything about every one of the Zephyrs that was built was designed to try and save weight. So the best example is like on most trucks, this piece is a cover for the roller bearings.
Still have Timken on it.
Yep.
Made in the USA.
Timken is still in business too.
Yeah.
So, but this is not steel. This is actually cast aluminum.
Really?
And that's just one example of places that the Burlington tried to save weight throughout all of their Zephyrs. So what that amounts to is that there's no way you can go out and buy a set of trucks that are usable under it without seriously modifying how the train is connected and mounted. Your choice is to rebuild these and try and do so in a way that you can find parts and things that you're going to need well into the future.
And what have you taken off so far this morning? We got something over here.
So the thing to remember is that these trucks have not been underneath the Mark Twain Zephyr for what, about 20 years?
Yeah, I believe our history side of it was Minooka, Illinois in 2000.
Yeah. And before that, you know, the last time the Zephyr was actually in active service was about, what, 1961, 62?
About the time they moved it over to Burlington.
Yeah, so we've had almost 60, 70 years without any sort of maintenance having been done to these things. It
Wow.
takes a lot of work.
It is going
just to break things loose. So what we've got over here is actually one of the brake pistons.
Oh.
And what the piston basically does is you use air pressure to push out that piston. That piston actuates a series of rods and levers, and it eventually, through those rods and levers, will push brake shoes against the tread of the wheel. So this is the first big piece we managed to get off. We've got airlines off here and there, and you know, we've been having to run an impact to get some of the castle nuts off. Most of the cotter keys are so decayed that we wound up having to cut them or torch them out to get them to move. So it's a lot of work just to bust things loose.
And for those who don't know, these are both from Engine Joe.
No. Engine Joe's power truck is still up at the depot.
Okay.
We have a truck under it right now that we think is the one.
Okay.
That was underneath it.
I gotta say one thing.
Oh.
This would have been the truck, because if you look, there's a speedometer cap, and they wouldn't have needed to know the speed to kick the mail.
Yep.
So this side would have been underneath the Engine Joe.
Okay. So just that side.
Yep.
And then this one, do we have any idea where this connected?
We're not sure quite where this one is from. Other than that, the other one that we know for sure where it went is outside. There's one that's slightly smaller than the rest, and that was the one that was underneath the end of the Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
Again, because it didn't connect with another car, the Burlington chose to make it as light and as small as possible, so it's noticeably different than the other ones.
So any time frame of how? I mean, this is pretty much a months long project. Pretty much all winter.
It's going to be a significant block of time getting everything taken apart.
Okay.
Cleaned, figuring out what repairs we need to make it roadworthy. We're going to need to get new wheels and new journal boxes.
Okay.
So we're working on where those are going to be made. So yeah, this is going to take
many months,
several weeks.
Okay.
It'll take us several weeks, I think, to get things torn apart, get them blasted, figure out repairs to be made, and then assemble what we can.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not building the wheels or the boxes here. They're going to be built off property by somebody else.
Yeah.
So we might get everything done and just put it back on these wheels, so we have some way to move these out in the next chain.
Okay.
Right now we're working on 2 at a time. And it's essentially start at one corner, work to the end, blast all that, start on the next one, proceed. Because the other thing is that there are a lot of small parts with each one of these trucks.
Yeah.
And being that I've never done a full rebuild of a passenger car truck before, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that parts stay together. I know which part goes where. And so we're not running around going, okay, how did this one go back in line with everything else?
All right. Well, we'll check back with you in a couple weeks, see how things are going. On our next update, we're out of time. I want to learn how that really cool machine, the Bead Blaster down there, works. So, but I guess we'll have to save that for another time. I want to see that you stick your hand in there and with gloves, and it looks really cool. So we'll save that for another update.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Nick, and thanks, Alexander, for your update today.
Catch you later.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nick. Definitely a lot of work ahead, but exciting work on the trucks, and we'll keep you updated every few weeks on the progress they are making. So from our off-site shops here in Washburn County, Wisconsin, I'm Robert Tabern, Director of Passenger Development for the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, with another video update, restoration on the Mark Twain Zephyr.